Hello to our dear audience today. It's been a while since you've last heard from me, but now we're back with a number of brand new Pharmaversity sessions, and it's so great to have you all back with us in the audience again. And today I'm happy to actually present two experts, which is a first time for us so far, who are in the line with me today. So welcome to the two of them. Would you just say hi and introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Hi, Anna, and hello, everybody. My name is Christian Arends. I'm Business Development Manager for Sterile Solutions at SCHOTT and working very closely with, for example, Groninger and Marius.
Yeah, so I also introduce myself really quick. My name is Marius Römer, and I'm a product manager at Groninger, responsible for the ready-to-use portfolio. And I have the pleasure today to be the first external guest. So yeah, thanks for having me, Anna and Christian, and looking forward to the session today.
Wonderful. Thanks to the two of you. Yes, it's definitely good to have you here as well. And I'm super excited to have the first three-person podcast happening today. So we just finished our webinar session, which we were able to shoot at the Groninger Showroom in Crailsheim. And we were able to demonstrate two real-time format part changeovers for ready-to-use packaging on a flex-fitting machine, which was really interesting. And thanks for allowing us to join you there. And from here, I would just like to deepen the topic a little bit more with the two of you. And so my first question that I had is there a general trend for flexible filling and ready-to-use materials that you can see? Or is that something that's basically something that you experience here in Germany or maybe even the European area where this is like a trendy topic at the moment?
I think we can provide a pretty clear answer to that. So from my point of view, it has definitely become a truly global trend. And I would even say that it's not a trend anymore. It has really become a standard. We have many discussions with more and more and very different customers from all over the world.
And I think also from the machine manufacturing end, when we look back to 2013, 14, where it really started to grow significant, where people were then asking us, hey, we would like to have a syringe machine, but we would also be happy to put ready-to-use vials from SCHOTT onto the machine to be as flexible as possible. And that was 2014. And since then, we now do approximately 60-70% of our machines the flexible way, which means that we have syringes on, but we also have most of the time at least the option to do vials. And one of the big portions then is also the retrofitting. So we have existing machines in the field which are running maybe 10, 15 years, and people now see, well, there are options to do filling on my nested filler. So they are approaching our service department and they ask, can my machine do that? And we are very happy then, or we're very lucky then to say, yes, you can. We can modify the machine because what you already saw, hopefully in the session, the Pharmaversity session, that the machine, the process steps are basically the same as we do it with syringes. So as Christian said, it's not a trend anymore. It's really now a standard, which is very well received in the industry.
Brilliant. Then in that case, it's definitely beneficial for our entire podcast audience, who's of course not only located to Europe. And it's always good to cover topics that are relevant to all of our audience. So during the webinar session, I've asked myself, what really comes first? Is it usually the machine decision that the customer decides first, or does the approach rather come from the packaging area?
That's a good question. We got asked a lot of times from clients, from engineering firms. So basically, the planning of the facilities are today going towards an approach that it needs to be ready for everything in the future. That means the first decision is do I have a mono product? So do I fill one product on a line only? Then the tendency is to go rather to bulk. But when you look into a full flexible facility from the beginning with using multiple containers or maybe if you have first one dedicated product, but would like to open the production in the future for products you have in your pipeline in clinical phases, where they maybe are initially in a vial, but then they will end up in a syringe, then of course you have to start the planning of the facility quite flexible. And then the nest filler with the IQ platform, that means the syringe, vials, cartridges, is getting very, very attractive, because you are then very, very open for the future to then quickly change the machine from one component to the other. And also when it comes to speed, because that's also a decision you have to make upfront. Okay, what kind of capabilities in terms of speed the machine needs to have. And today the nest fillers, they can go from, let's say, 100 per minute to even 1,000 syringes per minute. And also when it comes to the vials in the nest, you can go from a rather slow speed to even a high speed machine with 600 vials per minute in a nested configuration. So also here, when it comes to scalability, this gives you a high flexibility. But of course, when the container comes first, I think, Christian, you can give a much better answer than I can.
From our point of view, the question is not only what's the container type, which needs to be filled, maybe now or maybe in the future via syringe cartridge, but sometimes it's also the question, if we talk about truck container interaction, what is the container the customer would like or needs to use? So let's say a Fiolex clear 10 vial, or a 1 ml long silicone-free syringe, or maybe a coated 2-hour vial due to truck stability. So in these cases, some customers, they start very early doing the container choice, and then throughout the clinical trials, maybe starting with manual filling, semi-automated filling, and later on moving towards a more automated system, then they are starting the discussions which Marius just raised. What's the capacity or the output I would like to reach? How flexible do I need to be, etc., etc. But yeah, it's I think it's definitely both ways, or both ways are possible.
Okay, so there's a good reason for both approaches, and the right answer is kind of it depends, I guess. So we've got customers coming from one end, customers coming from the other end, but in the end, they are all meeting in the middle, and the partnership comes really much into play as well. So that's great to know that you're both working together as well. Another thing that you mentioned in the Pharmaversity session is that oftentimes pharmaceutical companies address you with the same or similar questions at the same time. And I think that's a very interesting topic. So can you maybe give an example of what these questions are usually about?
Sure. And here I'd like to give an example. So the customer said, see, I want to focus on my core competency, so which is not necessarily how to clean a vial, but more truck related. So the customer did not simply ask for, I need this product, but asked for better support, asked for service, saying this is the performance, or these are the options that I would like to have. This is my future picture where I would like to get to, and please help me to get there. Please help me to reach it. So this led us into a whole different area of discussion, leading to questions such as how flexible should a line be? What kind of packaging does allow such a flexibility? What are the batch size, line speed? What are different configurations? Because, well, if we talk about ready-to-use containers and ready-to-use processing, I think everybody needs to keep in mind that it's truly the whole system. This is working together. The container, the whole outer packaging, bags, tubs, nests, etc. The line, components, which are important and which definitely define the later performance and the different options they have. Marius, do you have a few examples for questions?
Well, of course, exactly what you said, and also Anna mentioned it before, that the question, it depends, is always, well, let's say not the most satisfying answer you can get, because it leaves some room for interpretation. But the big thing in the industry is, and as you said, the core competence of a pharmaceutical manufacturer is making the drug. And the drug itself has certain requirements and to a filling machine or to the containers. And with the approach that, for example, now SCHOTT and Groninger, we are working very closely together and we are exchanging informations to actually support the companies getting a lot of answers to their requirements of the product. So just for example, you have we are asking for the behavior of the product. So viscosity. Is it a product which has long molecule structures? Is it are shear forces okay for the product? Because then we already can make a decision what kind of filling system which might be necessary to put on the machine. But also when we get the answer, it doesn't limit the customer really to one filling system. So we design the machines so they can be equipped with multiple filling systems for different drug product they might run on the line in the future. And I think this fits quite well with the approach of the packaging material, because if the packaging material is very, very flexible, but the machine isn't, well, then this could run into discussions and into issues sometimes. So to make a long story short here, we really, as partners with the packaging suppliers, we really listen to the requirements of the customer. We are already making, we do predefined solutions to make all the process from the design, the definition of the line, all the way up to the first batch they will fill as easy as possible. And so the answer, it depends, is quite good, because we are the experts to give the range, give the information to the customers to get a feasible solution at the end.
Marius, I like what you said, that we are listening to the customer, but we are happy to not only listen, but also discuss as partners. And here I'm thinking of what you also mentioned before, for example, bulk versus ready to use, what is best for my future facility. And here lots of our customers are not only asking the question to themselves, what is easier for me? Because if they start from scratch, for most of the customers, we do see that it's much easier for them to start with ready to use right away, because they just simply don't have to think about WFI or a huge clean room space, the footprints, etc. Some of them are also having a more number-focused approach, looking at the TCO calculation. And here I know that my colleague Robert also has a Pharmaversity session, which I would like to refer to.
Well, when it comes to TCO, I think the calculation is great to make a decision to go with either bulk or ready to use. And also what you have to have in mind is, as we proved during the session, that the changeover times are having a quite of a big impact as well. The changeover times, the quicker you are changing over the machine, the earlier you are ready for your next batch, for your next product. So the utilization of the machine is much, much higher with these quick changeover times. So I think that fits quite well into the TCO approach of Robert and you guys from SCHOTT.
Wow, so there really is a lot of things that move our customers and that are on their minds. Machinery and ready-to-use packaging choices seem to go very much hand in hand. And maybe just sum up what I just heard and learned from you is that I understand that a lot of your daily business is not only about promoting the right machine or the right container to the customer, but also to consult and support them in finding the perfect fill and finish solution for their individual needs, the one that really suits their requirements individually.
Exactly, and I think it's important to point out here that we are not doing that upon a customer request, but we do that from a very early point. So if you talk, for example, about our SCHOTT IQ platform, so ready-to-use vials, syringes, cartridges, already back when we were in the development stage, we approached our fill and finish partners to get feedback on processability. Because their feedback was very important for us designing and developing the product. making sure at the end at our customers, it's not just running good, but it's a perfect fit. I really like you saying hand in hand, because on the one hand, we have the product which we are designing, and which we are designing in a way so that it works perfectly fine on the filling equipment, but which means that we are also dependent on companies like Groninger providing us with feedback, but also doing it the other way around, but also from a more process-related point of view, because we are doing some of the process steps or some of the packaging which we are closing, for example, is then opened again at Groninger. So let's say we do the bagging at SCHOTT, debagging is done at Groninger, or we do the sealing and the delidding is done at Groninger. So there's some know-how at both ends.
But there are so many touching points if you think about it. I mean, of course, the packaging material is done at your facility. It's getting shipped to the customers, getting shipped to our facility when we build the machines. But we have so many touching points at the machine. If you think about removing the bag, as you said already, removing the lid and liner foil, and then really to do the filling and the handling of the components. So we have a lot of things we share. And I think that's why it's so important that, especially in these development phases, and it's not only when you do a new packaging material, if you develop a new glass or so, it's also when we do new machines. We approach you, pitch you the idea of what we are looking into to develop, and then we get your honest feedback. And I think that's something which is key for the future, to get products faster to the market. Because if you think about that, for sometimes from the initial development of the product towards the actual release to the market, it's years between, and we don't want to be the bottleneck here as manufacturer of the machine or of the packaging material. So I think the time where it's so split up and everyone is doing their own business, I think that's pretty much over, at least for the partnership between SCHOTT and Groninger, because we would like to work together and help our clients that they get their products faster to the market, and that the machine runs as smoothly, and that solution. So I would say our DNA of both companies are matching quite good, especially in bringing joint approaches to the market.
Definitely. Yes, and that's probably what makes it work as well, right? So it's a joint understanding that the customer needs a joint solution. So neither of us can provide the full solution to the customer, and it only works if we work together. So with that, we're getting quite close to the end of our podcast, unfortunately, already. But I do have a last question. So what do you believe where ready-to-use sterile fill and finish will head to in the future?
Well, again, a very good question, Anna. And I think we still have 30 minutes left, right? Because this answer will take some time. But to make it short, so I think with the approach of the iQ platform to have all the three components in one tub and to process it on a line, this is now really the standard in ready-to-use fill finish. But what is coming next? Well, I think the focus really shifts towards the upstream processes like debagging and delining. Since this is a very, very critical process where the ready-to-use tubs, which are already sterile, are getting exposed the first time to the environment of the aseptic zone, this one will get a strong focus by authorities, by quality assurance, in general by customers. And I think there will be still a lot of discussions and cool ideas, innovations in this portion of the machine, and also looking a little bit more downstream of handling vials, now being able on a ready-to-use filler to integrate freeze-drying capabilities is something which is very, very interesting for a lot of customers looking into freeze-drying of their products, especially looking to biologics and so on. So I think to answer the question, the upstream debagging, the lid delining, and what happens with the vials after the filling in the nests, that will be something we will discuss a lot the next coming years. What are looking really forward to, because we already have some solutions to tackle these challenges.
Wonderful. Thank you. That wraps it up pretty nicely. And I'm pretty sure that this was not the last podcast that we had on this topic. So I'm very much looking forward to see what actually might be coming next, what solutions will come up in the future. And yes, as I said, for today, we're pretty close to the end of the session today. It was a great pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for answering all my questions. I would have a lot more, but we'll keep them for the next one. And yeah, thanks for all the valuable insights. And of course, a special thank you, Marius, for taking the time and being with us today, being our first external guest in the podcast and also in the webinar session. It was really great having you here, and it was just fun with the two of you to see how two companies work together to create a joint solution that just supports customers in their daily operations. It's just really good to see that.
Yeah. Thank you, Anna and Christian, and also, of course, SCHOTT for the opportunity to give some input on these interesting topics. And hopefully, I did a great job as an external guest, and I'm looking forward for the next invitation. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Anna, and also from my side, a big thanks to you, Marius. Looking forward to the next call, and thanks also to our audience for the interest. Yeah, from my side, goodbye, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Last but not least, thanks to the audience. It's been great having you here again. Stay tuned. If you are looking for further podcast material, or also for the webinar recordings that we just mentioned a couple of times during today's session, always feel free to check out our YouTube account, where you find all of our podcasts. And also, if you're interested in the video recordings of the Pharmaceutical sessions, you can find these in our entirely new portal, which is called the World of Innovations, and you can find this under world.schott.com. Just register and sign up to receive the rights to listen to the past podcasts and watch all past Pharmaceutical sessions. And come on back every once in a while, because there's always new content created, and we'll just add it as we go. It was great having you here. And with that, thank you to everybody, and speak to you soon. Goodbye.